Raptors Digest. What's up and welcome back. What a win. 108-89. That score is even closer than it felt all game. The Raptors blow out the Kings on the second night of a back-to-back on the road in Sacramento. Just a crazy game. What an answer for Pascal Siakam. There were so many unsung heroes in this game, but I'll get to that in my 5 takeaways. If you haven't seen Ben and Riker's post-game recap, definitely go check that out. They'll be sitting on live, and they'll be talking about a whole bunch of different things they saw that game and interacting with the community as they always do. Don't want to miss that. However, speaking of things that don't want to be missed, well, my bet wanted to be missed pretty badly tonight, and you can see Pascal Siakam over 3.5 assists. Pretty sure he only had 1 assist. He was just a primary scorer tonight. I thought he might sit back and let the offense come to him a bit more, try to facilitate to others, focus on not turning over the ball. But credit to Pascal, he wasn't scared one bit. He went out there and hunted his shots, and it worked out. So didn't play a facilitator role. I missed that. And then Scotty Barnes with a very, very quiet scoring night. I think he only had 2 points, maybe a little bit more than that, but nowhere close to hitting the 15-point minimum I thought he would. I just saw, a rookie, second night of a back-to-back. He's going to have more energy than everyone else. OG Anunoby's still out. Felt like that was a good bet, but blew up in my face. We don't end up hitting this bet, but that's okay. We live to see another day. Golden State is the next game coming up, so make sure to tune in. I'll be releasing my bets for that one as well. But without further ado, I'll get into my version of what I saw out there in this game versus the Sacramento Kings. So you start off hot and you basically don't look back. I think at one point it was 27-21 for the Kings. Well, you close that gap. First quarter ends, it's 30-27. And from that point on, man, you just go on an absolute onslaught. In the third quarter, it's been traditionally a big issue for us. We blew the Kings up in the third quarter. Gary Trent Jr. with another great game. Fred VanVleet with another great performance. I mean, Fred and Gary were lights out from three-point range. And I believe Fred tonight entered the top 3 in all-time threes made for this Raptors organization. So nice to see him getting some recognition in the record books. And also, our centers played a really good game. Precious was somewhat quiet, but I got to give it to Kem and Chris. They did their job all night. And there was just a lot of different guys you look at. Pascal Siakam, obviously. I'm saving a lot for my 5 takeaways here, but just a great game for the Raptors. Not so much a great fourth quarter, but you get the end result you wanted. We can definitely live with this. I know people are saying, oh, but it's the Kings, we can't over-celebrate. Well, you can only play who's in front of you, and we needed to bounce back, and that's exactly what we did. But here we are. My first takeaway of the game. Siakam answers. He drops 32, 8, and 1, and he does that on perfect 3 of 3 shooting from three-point range. He mixed in some defensive stats as well. He was just all over it tonight. This was him looking fired up. I made a joke in the live stream. He had the Band-Aid on his head. We had Band-Aid Pascal out there playing like Band-Aid Fred in the NBA Finals. Just fearless, hunting his shots down, and I didn't see even like one spin from him tonight. The spinny spicy P was not an issue. He was getting shots in the mid-range that were spot-ups. He was fading away. Of course, knocking down threes, as I already said. I bet on him being a facilitator tonight. That didn't happen, but ultimately, I was much more pleased with this result. And I won't lie to you. I think the ship has sailed. I'm wanting Siakam traded. That's how I feel. Maybe some more great performances against top-tier teams could talk me off that ledge. But at this moment, I just see this as a great performance for him, improving his trade value, because I still think we're trending in that direction, to be completely honest. But no matter what way you look at it, good stuff if you're a Raptors fan. Cheers to Pascal. That was a great answer for him, and that was my first takeaway of the game. Second takeaway,
I don't even know where you're
Kem Burch
at.
truly was the unsung hero tonight. 10, 9, and 1 with 4 steals and 2 blocks. Okay, that's a Gary Trent kind of defensive stat line there. Kem Burch was just a solid presence for us all night. This team really missed him when he was injured, and he comes in and does more than just his job. He's a great cleanup man, both offensively and defensively, but I mean, these stats, like I said, 10, 9, and 1, 4 steals, 2 blocks. Kem Burch was great energy for this group. He's the closest thing we have to a traditional center, so it's not the 7-footer that we want, but he's still the center that at this moment we need. Shouts out to Kem Burch for showing up and playing a big role for this Raptors team in the win tonight. Takeaway number 3. Boucher actually looked like his old self. He dropped 10, 12, and 1 with 1 steal and 2 blocks. He hit a three-pointer as well. These are the things that I missed from Chris. He had one really, really hype block where I was like, hey, I feel like I'm watching the Boucher from last year. Then he hits a three-pointer, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, where has this version of Chris been? Because last year he was ultra confident, ultra green-lighted, everywhere on the court, defensively, offensively. He was just, you could see his length playing a role all night for the Raptors, and I missed that. I missed that so much. So to see Chris come back out with a really solid effort after he's been extremely lackluster, especially last night with Utah, I mean, this was a great answer for him as well. I got to tip my hat to Chris Boucher. We need to see more of this from the big man, even if we don't hold on to him. He's in a contract year. I expected more out of him, and I think we're hopefully starting to get it. I really hope this trend is here to stay. Shouts out to Chris Boucher. Takeaway number 4. You only score 12 points in the fourth quarter. That's, someone in the chat, I believe it was Marcel Martin, pointed out that this team's good for 3 quarters. And I don't mean in any certain order. They can give you a good 3 quarters, and then at some point they're going to lay an egg of a quarter. And it happened to be the fourth here. Thankfully, you built yourself a 30-point cushion so you could afford to do that. But 12 points scored in the fourth. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, guys. That's not good. You got to have a more consistent effort the whole way through. I'm not saying you're going to win every quarter. Of course you're not. But to score 12 is just frustrating. I mean, to state the obvious, definitely need to have a more complete effort from tip-off to the ending whistle. And you had a great effort, but the fourth quarter, just too much of a drop-off, offensively stagnant. Would have liked to see us come out a little harder to finish off the game, but hey, when you have a 30-point cushion, I guess you can afford to have a messed up fourth quarter like we did. And for my final takeaway, guys, takeaway number 5, I think we may have just got Luke Walton fired. I know this is a completely irrelevant takeaway to our team, but seriously, I think we might have just got Luke Walton fired. He was already on thin ice. He was having some weird narratives there with Tristan Thompson saying, Tristan Thompson was saying, we don't need any coach to fire us up or motivate us. We're professionals. And he's had so much criticism directed towards him. This Kings group has not figured it out. They're not showing that many encouraging signs. Bear in mind, I don't think their roster is all too great. They have some decent players like any team in the NBA, but Luke Walton, I think, is going to be leaving this team, and the Raptors getting a win against them, a blowout win in the second night of a back-to-back on the road. It's kind of an exclamation point on things. I think we might have actually just ended his tenure with Sacramento. Not to be rude or mean, I'm just calling it as I see it. Hopefully that news breaks and we're correct. Respect to Luke Walton, but I seriously think we just ran him out of Sacramento. Anyways, on the topic of the Raptors, we are 108-89 victors of this matchup in Sacramento. You got to love to see it. And for your takeaways, put them down in the comments. I definitely want to hear them. Make sure to tune into our upcoming live stream versus the Golden State Warriors. I'll release all the betting information beforehand, as I mentioned earlier. And this was a super fun one, guys. If you tuned into the live for this, you know it was a good time. So make sure not to miss the next one. And I'm signing off.